I asked her, can I dance with you? Like, you're so beautiful. And then we started dancing.
Literally, it was like a movie scene. It was like, you want to dance with me?
We started not really as friends because I was calling her my wife after that class.
Something I've always dreamt of as like a little girl. Like, oh, I'm going to have my husband. This is my husband.
BeBe always makes sure that she gives me a kiss every morning, because if you don't give me a kiss in the morning, I will be upset the rest of the day. Not with you, but with everybody else. Everybody will feel that. They won't even know why. She's always telling me, you are perfect the way you are. She's telling me, oh, you look so handsome today. Like, oh my gosh, like, she's perfect. Like, it's so good to be around her.
I love you.
Love you more.
For me, he shows up every day in the little moments. Buying me coffee, giving me a kiss on my forehead, reassuring me when I'm anxious. He knows exactly what to do or exactly what I need.
People call me Santi. I'm 21 years old. My pronouns are he, him, his.
My name is BeBe Segura. I use she, her pronouns. I'm 22 years old and I'm pansexual.
When you grow up in a place where being transgender is illegal, when you're growing up, that you have to be a certain way, portray a certain model. When you come out of transgender and somebody comes in and see you as a stereotype or as like a facade or something like that, is scary. And when I met BeBe, and the first thing that she asked me when we were started dating was, how can I help in your transition? Like, that question changed everything after that. This person didn't care what kind of person I was growing into. She wanted to be there with me. She wanted to know everything. She wanted to learn. It was just so exciting. It just makes your heart happy to see that somebody is like going to love you. Just because you're transgender, it doesn't mean that somebody's not going to love you the way you are, because everybody deserves love.
Tell me your origin story. Like, what attracted you to each other?
Can I talk first?
Okay.
There was this bachata class going on college. And there was at some point in the class where they were like, oh, we have to switch partners because we were dancing with the same person over and over again. And then I saw this beautiful girl across, like, it was like the movies, across the room. And she was wearing a red unitard with La Duca boots in. And she looked so beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, I want to meet her. Like, she's so cute. And I went up to her. I was like, maybe she speaks Spanish because she dances really good to the music, and the music was Spanish too. And I speak to her in Spanish. She was like,
I was like,
and then I asked her, can I dance with you? Like, you're so beautiful. And then we started dancing.
literally, it was like a movie scene. It was like, you want to dance with me? And I was like, yeah. And then he started talking in Spanish. I was like, I'm BeBe. Nice to meet you.
And we started not really as friends, because I was calling her my wife after that class.
Yeah.
I was like, she's my wife. And everybody was like, she don't even know you. I was
He would see
manifesting.
me in the halls and he'd be like, my wife. And I'm like, my
Yeah.
We were friends for
A
little.
friend. I even stole a kiss from her that I didn't tell her like 3 months after we started dating, that it was not an accident.
We would like give each other like little like side, like, you know, the French would like that. So I was turning to like go kiss him on his cheek and he turned and kissed me and I was like,
And we
And
both
I
fell
felt
to the
so
ground, and I was acting so surprised. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And then the inside, I was like, I knew that was going to happen. I was so happy.
and I thought this whole time that we like bumped into each other's lips. I was like, oh my God, that's so romantic. Like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then he tells me later that he planned it.
I planned it. I don't regret anything. I'll do it again.
Me too.
So, what was your first date like?
She told me when we were getting to know each other that she loved nature. And there was this coffee shop that is a flower shop and also a coffee shop. We wanted to go there. We drank coffee, we chatted, we were getting to know each other more, what we were looking for. We talked about past relationships a lot, about past traumas.
The first date was like our full, like vulnerable, like
Yeah.
moment where we're like, okay, this is what I bring to the table. This is what you bring to the table. This is what our past consists of. Are you willing to work through it with me?
Yeah.
What was the process of falling in love?
It was the easiest thing to fall in love with her. And I still continue to fall in love with her. It's so easy to talk to her. And that's what I was looking for, because communication is important for me, and honesty as well. It's just life is became easier when she came into it, and that I'm able to be myself with her, and she understands. Like she understands what I need without me telling her what I need in the moment. She just comes forward and she's like, "Okay, let me settle you down. Okay, this is what we're doing." She's like, "You're not alone." She always reminds me that I'm not alone, and that's something I really appreciate because this world is really lonely sometimes. But it just makes me feel so good that my partner gets to be with me in this lonely world, per se.
Falling in love with Santi was like felt like a movie. I like something I've always dreamt of as like a little girl. Like, oh, I'm gonna have my husband. This is my husband. I wanted to like make sure that he had a space to be him and not be ashamed of, transitioning or going through those emotions. Just would fall in love with him like more and more every time he would like be open to like talking about being trans, being the most vulnerable state every single day and choosing me. Like I've never met anyone so sure about me in my entire life. And to have him show up like that every single day, it's how could I not love you? How could I not like love someone who brings so much value and worth to my life? I've always supported Santi when he like came and like told me that he was trans, because at first I didn't know he was. And he explained like everything, every single thing to me, because I was like, I want to know everything. I want to know what goes on in your mind when you're out in public or when this situation happens or whatever. I wanted to be, fully in. It's like that saying where it's like you're stuck in the mud with your person. Let me just sit in the mud with you. I want to see it from your point of view. What parts of you really needs to be loved that you've like hidden from? I'm like a mama bear where we go out in public and someone misgenders him. I'm like, excuse me.
When BeBe came in the picture and she didn't keep me hidden, she was mostly like celebrating me and like pushing me, not ashamed of myself every day. It completely shifted my perspective. I do not have to adapt to somebody who keeps hurting me. BeBe is loving me every day the way I am. She also teach me how to love myself as well.
We believed we were unlovable. We like realized that we were like going through the same experiences at the same time, just in different countries.
Yeah.
When we found each other, it was like you just know, you just connect on just such a deeper level than your even soul. It's not even bound by your soul. Like
We love our families a lot and we value them so much. And my mom, when she first met BeBe, oh my goodness, she was like, that's the one. And a fun fact is that the ring that BeBe is wearing, that ring never fitted other person but her, and it was my grandma's. So when my mom gave that ring to her, and the way that it fits so perfectly, it was a little bit scary. When you know and the things and times put you together with this person is gonna fit. And that was like
the final sign.
the final sign. Like we were like, yeah, we're stuck together.
Forever.
Yeah.
It's meant to be.
Being an international couple, we had grew up in two different cultures. So
Yeah.
nothing is the same when we grew up. Combining that together, love doesn't limit anything.
I'm originally from Nicaragua. My parents, they never lived outside of Nicaragua before. So when they met BeBe, and BeBe is from Texas, they were a little bit like, oh, she has like different culture. I don't understand. I was raised in the Catholic way. Back home, that's just what they teach you. Obviously, now my perspective is way different in Catholicism. When you see a Latino household, you're going to see a lot of like crucifix or Virgin Mary pictures everywhere.
We both have different perspectives on like spirituality. Coming together and like learning about both of our perspectives and respecting it, it was like a deeper level for us because we can see that view of the world but also understand ours as well.
We found common ground in a way. It's like, you believe in this, let me learn from that, and I'm gonna let you learn from that as well. When I was younger, back home, because I was limited in space and money and with people around me, I didn't saw myself growing old. I don't want to if I'm being forced to be somebody who I'm not. But there was a point that I just can't do it anymore. I was just like, I cannot be lying to myself and my family and the people I love anymore because I was not being honest. So the idea of growing old started when I came out. It was scary, but it was so peaceful to come out. Seeing a future is such mind blowing because you're like, okay, I'm myself now. What's next? Just be yourself, and especially with somebody next to you. Because before I used to be like, yeah, nobody's gonna take me seriously. Like, I was like, that's just how the world works. And then when you find somebody who is like, no, I do want to grow old with you, it's like, oh, okay. It's just something that changes when you find yourself, I think.
What is something you admire about each other?
I admire who you are at the core of your soul because you care for every single person. You'll give your heart on the line for anyone, even someone like you don't he doesn't even know. He's a warrior. He is strong and he is resilient too. You're also a role model for me, something I aspire to be as like connected to myself and proud of who I am because not only of like you being proud of to be trans, it makes me proud to be like authentically myself.
It reminds me that everything doesn't have to happen right now. It happens when the universe or anything you believe to wants you to happen. And you don't have control over your future sometimes, and that's okay. I have always told myself ever since I started my transition all the way to this point, with BeBe coming into my life, being trans is scary enough. But when you're with the right person and you learn how to love yourself, that changes the game completely. There's something I have learned throughout these years of transition and to this point in a relationship where I see myself like literally being all with her, being cranky and everything. The right person will love you just the way you are because with the right person, it will feel comfortable. Like you will always feel comfortable. It will always feel like you have something right next to you, and that's what matters.